Hey guys, and thanks for tuning in. My name is SPYN, and today I will bring you the first part of my suggestions for the substitution system. Now, before we start, I want to inform you that I have many different suggestions that give different outputs as to how things can work out. I have suggestions that concern the possibility of keeping the substitution bar, and I have also suggestions that concern the possibility of going back to chakra-based substitution again. In other words, suggestions about not keeping the substitution bar. So please keep that in mind while all of the parts concerning my suggestions for the substitution system are being released one at a time. In addition, I want to clarify that these suggestions are not opinion based. In fact, none of my suggestions are opinion based. As a designer, I have looked at the pros and cons for both of the substitution bar and the regular chakra substitution, enabling me to find the flaws for each feature and provide new material to improve both of them. My job as a designer is also to stay neutral when focusing on improving aspects of the game series the best way possible without getting caught by eventual personal opinions. Also, when speaking of the substitution system, I have noticed that many people have different opinions on this subject. Now that I'm going to suggest various things concerning this subject, I would love if you could respect the individual suggestions, knowing that some of the suggestions are going to address your favorite feature later on, i.e. sub-bar and or chakra substitution. If you don't like something, do not just bash it. Tell me why you don't like that given subject. Likewise, if there's something you do like, do not hesitate to tell me why. Alright, with all of this being said, let's get things started. In this particular video, I will be talking about the substitution bar and what suggestions I have for it. The first suggestion is a quick one. If the substitution bar is a must-have in the game series, we could change the conditions for how it should work. For instance, instead of depending on the last time you used your substitution technique, the substitution refilling process could be activated every 14 seconds to make things much more interesting. Then, players won't know exactly when they will regain their substitutions, and they will therefore have to play in a more clever ways. Likewise, it will also most probably push people away from playing too carefully and force them into taking actions quickly, thus adding to the fast-paced action. And just to make sure it's fully understood, whenever the refilling process of the substitution bar is activated, it will always give 4 substitutions to each player, and that is even despite if the player starts using them while it's refilling itself. For instance, if a player decides to substitute 2 times during the refilling process, the player will be left with 2 subs remaining. Let's move on to the next suggestion. Suggestion number 2. Let's enable players to fully manage their substitution bars themselves. This will help players by giving a fair chance of getting back into a game when they have been recklessly attacked. It's also designed to help them in situations where they have created distance to their opponents to recharge energy. In this case, they will then be able to choose if they want chakra the most or if they want to regain substitutions as a part of their fighting strategy. Now, this one is about being able to recharge the substitution bar only by these controls. As you may see, the chakra charging button is a part of the control setting. So the concept is that when you press and hold your substitution button while charging chakra, it will switch to charging the substitution bar instead. In addition, it will be highly appropriate to change the charging color from blue to yellow when charging the substitutions. Here's an example. Whenever the player switches between holding and not holding the substitution button while recharging chakra, the bars will recharge individually. As a last point for this suggestion, whenever players are recharging the substitution bar, they will not be able to substitute, recharge chakra or guard, although performing any kind of action will cancel the recharging action. Let's move on to my last suggestion for this video. This suggestion is almost the same as the previous one, but with one exception. I suggest that we could have the possibility of recharging the substitution bar while recharging chakra, meaning that they both recharge at the same time. Of course, the recharge rate should be customized to fit balanced gameplay, meaning that players won't be able to abuse this feature to keep a constant rate of substitutions up. Ideally, this suggestion will help players regaining control over their situation if they have been outplayed. This will also make sure that people won't be forced to keep distances all the time if they run out of substitutions to use, because they now have a chance to manage their circumstances entirely. Alright, that concludes this first part of my suggestions for the substitution system. Please share thoughts and opinions on this subject and tell me what you think about it, or if you could see things happening in other and perhaps more interesting ways. Remember, I'm considering all suggestions that you write to me for my Storm 4 Suggestions magazine project, so please keep the ideas coming. Anyways, please give this a thumbs up if you like this video, and subscribe to stay tuned for my upcoming videos. My name is SPYN09, and as always, thanks for watching.